The first step of making bourbon barrel ale begins in the mill room. Here the brewer dumps 50-pound bags of grain to make the Kentucky ale. In the mill, the grain is ground, creating dust in a milled particle that is then moved by conveyor to the water tun. The grain is conveyed to the water tun where it's mixed with hot water for step 2. The consistency of this mixture, the mash, is like oatmeal. It's for 1 hour and allows the starch to be converted to sugar. After that 1 hour, the sugar liquid is moved to the kettle for step number 3. There we bring it to a boil and add hops, our third ingredient, which add bitterness, flavor, and aroma. And for the Kentucky ale, these hops come from England. After the boil is complete, the sugar liquid, which is now beer, is cooled into a fermenter where yeast is added. After 5 to 7 days of fermentation, the beer is cooled down to 32 degrees and let sit for another 7 days. The yeast that we use for the Kentucky ale comes from Alltech down in Nicholasville, Kentucky. After 14 days, we go into step number 5, our filtration. Here we take the cooled beer from the fermenter and run it through a set of 2 filters to remove the yeast to create crystal clear but flat beer. The bright beer tanks are just holding tanks for the beer after the filtration. Here the beer is carbonated, where we forcibly add carbon dioxide to give it the fizz. In step number 6, we decide what the beer goes to. For the bourbon barrel ales, it will head to barrels. Step 7 of making bourbon barrel ale is to take the Kentucky ale and put it into freshly emptied bourbon barrels from the surrounding distilleries. Each barrel holds 53 gallons and is roughly 500 pounds when full. Once in the barrels, it sits there for 6 weeks and takes the flavor of the bourbon. The caramel, the vanilla, the toffee, and the sweetness are all imparted on the Kentucky ale to make bourbon barrel ale. The final step in making bourbon barrel ale is the packaging, where we put it into either bottles or kegs. The bottling line is a loud environment where we fill about 150 bottles a minute. We'll do close to 1,400 cases in a day. The keg line will do an average of 20 kegs an hour of various sizes, from half barrels all the way down to 6 barrels. That completes the journey of how to make bourbon barrel ale, the beer of bourbon country.